So, through the horizon. Well, I thought the game had potential, but well, all it did is battle it out, right? So that's the thing with it, just it's all that happens, But otherwise, I mean, it does have I don't know if it was like set up to look graphically all very similar. Obviously, I mean there must have been some intention with that. I mean, if it was a whole game like that, to be fair, the font would be a bit hard to read. It kind of is. There wasn't much to read, of course. That's the thing. Though there wasn't at all, and what there was the same a lot of the time, which is sort of the problem. But as a demo, it did look quite contextual. Guess one could say, it's very silvery, shall we say, very silver. And if it did have a story behind it, although when it comes to font, I guess, I mean, I know why the font was used. It is a bit difficult to read, though. But yeah, I mean, if there was a story behind it, I don't know, if another font would have been used or something. Anyway, it would have been interesting, though. There is actually an apparent, very much a lack of sci-fi. And, I was hoping that it would be the thing that, remedy that, which it did to a very limited extent. I mean, it could have been better, I guess, in terms of the story. Of course, that's the thing with the story. There's not much of a story. I mean, there is very little. Could sort of be extracted from it. I suppose the story could be, but it wasn't much of a story. But if it was something like like an Arthur C. Clarke narrative in a similar, I don't know if it's similar font for an entire game, hours long, villages, cities, these futuristic landscapes that look more like cryogenic chambers than houses. Yeah, it would have been quite interesting. Of course, this was more of a demo than an actual story. But as far as demos go, it's not bad, I suppose. Except it's just enemies, a lot of encounters, and a lot of bosses. The bosses weren't particularly difficult though, so in terms of that, I'm not saying they should be, because when you have a lot of enemies already and just enemies, nothing else, and if they were difficult it'd be even more annoying. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, it just reminded me somewhat of Lavos from Chrono Trigger there at the end, but Chrono Trigger did have a narrative. This one didn't. So, but it's still, obviously Chrono Trigger isn't as alien-y as this, alien-y. But, otherwise, it still sets up an atmosphere. I mean, it's all about atmosphere, indeed. And I like the music, I like the graphics, but the writing is what was lacking, clearly. And if it could go on for many hours, it would have been potentially interesting. That's the thing, right? I mean, it already was sort of, but it's limited. So anyway, that's pretty much it, I suppose. I was hoping it would have a narrative, but it didn't, unfortunately. What it did have, though, was still a sense of a vibe, which wasn't at all negative. So it was interesting. you know, but I would have preferred if it had a narrative.